it is important to see the female gaze, because I believe that men and women are different, not better, not worse, but different. And that difference needs to be included in the dialogue that is taking place in the world about anything, about the environment, about politics, about art, or whatever. And so to place women at the center, at the heart of a show is, to me, interesting. Because just because they're women, it doesn't mean that they are good as gold. They're also negotiating their ups and downs, some reluctantly, some not so reluctantly, some ambitiously, some not so. That to me is interesting.
For me, it's been about choices. I think it's very important for women, as you said, where they just placed as models or props in a film. It's very important to say no to those films. And especially if you've done a body of work, I feel you should make choices and, add to your dignity of work. So I think that's a very important phase, which your choices divert you to, the kind of films you want coming in for you in the future, and a longer longevity, I think. So I feel choices are very important, and you should not see yourself on screen, doing nothing and just being part of a big project because it's going to make 100 or 200 crores. So I feel the choices are very important, how you want to see yourself on screen.
It's really interesting because I was having this conversation just earlier with somebody about working on this project, and there are 3 male producers working on this project and a male director. I'm pointing that out because we're having a gender conversation, but it was so interesting how much thought they put into these female characters, that not at one point of this journey did gender behind the scenes feel like an issue. Did it feel?
How do you mean?
Did it feel like, okay, we need to, we need to look at this differently because the men are not understanding how these female characters work? It never felt like that.
While you were working
While we
for
were working
Tamba.
on it, yeah. Whether it was the director, whether it was and of course we have a female writer on board. I was there. We have a male writer on board. It felt like everybody really understood where to take these characters and really understood how to think about them, how to develop them, how to look at them from an emotional perspective and really understand what they're kind of going through and what their journey is.
But are you saying that in the process of writing, because you had a writer's room there, you didn't necessarily see that the women were thinking differently from the men?
No, they absolutely were. But what I'm saying is the people that put in the work to have them think differently as female characters, they weren't lacking in any way. Because that thought process came from, whether it came from the male writer or the female writer, there was, it was equally done. It was done really beautifully, actually. And a lot of the time, even when you're discussing things with the male producers, they completely understood, if not mentioned certain things themselves, which I thought was really incredible. It never felt like, no, the female voice is not being understood. It's not being heard. It's not being portrayed the right way. That was really never an issue.
I think
which was a really great experience
with the whole story and soul of the film. So, and I think, that's when you know where you belong in a film. I mean, you don't have to discover it on a shooting spot. It starts from the story. It starts from how strong your foundation is and how much you move the screenplay, how important you are to the scene. So, I mean, that's where you should draw the line and say a yes or a no. Not reach a point where you're just glammed up and standing. And I'm saying that after you've done a couple of films, there's always a phase 1 where, you want to be, all the top films, when you're in your younger days. But later, of course, it has to, when you starts with choices, then there is no confusion at all.